Well, folks, we're ready for another adventure.
Turned from summer to winter.
Crazy. It's like a 20-degree drop. More than that, actually.
It was 89 yesterday in West Palm.
Was it really?
Yeah.
Jesus. It wasn't that warm here. It was like 79, but still. So we're going to see what the wind's like. It's supposed to be a little bumpy today, but we'll see what happens. But as you can see, we're bundled up. It's cold. Hopefully this is the last cold spell that we've got, for the rest, well, until November. So we're gonna go catch bait, see what we can do, and go from there. All right, folks, what we had to do is we got set up at the Skyway, but the unfortunate part is that the tide's going in and the wind's coming out. So I'm having to leave my boat in reverse to try to keep us in one spot, because the bait is situated on the up tide side of the bridge, which almost 100% of the time it is. So we're having to keep the boat in reverse. Unfortunately, I'm going to have to throw against the wind, which I hate, but there's really nothing I can do about it. Now we could anchor up on the other side and let the wind come in, but it usually doesn't work well like that. So we're just gonna have to get it set up like this and see what we can do. Well, folks, it has been not a nightmare, but it's tough when you're throwing against the wind and trying to chum and keep the boat in one place, because we have the boat in reverse. It's extremely tough because that wind has picked up even more. I'm about done filling the live wells. Probably going to throw one or two more times. You can see how tough it is for me to even stand on my feet. Keep that net as low profile as possible. It's going to be a fun ride back. Ready? Yep. 1, 2, 3. Well, folks, we got bait. As I was discussing on the GoPro, it was proving to be very difficult because the wind and the tide were going against each other, and throwing the net against the wind is not an easy task. But that last throw, we actually got enough bait for 2 buckets full, filled the back live well. We could have filled the front live well, but it was already full. So now we're gonna go see what we can do, but it is rough. So hopefully we can go find some fish. I doubt we're gonna be able to fish for grouper and snapper today unless it lays down. We might try a spot and see how it is, but it is what it is, right, Chad?
That's right.
So let's go see what we can fit or catch. Well, folks, we've been fishing for a while. We've caught some snook and we've caught some jacks, but with these bluebird skies, it's tough. I knew it would be tough today. I told Chad, I said, it's better than sitting on the couch, but still, it's a very tough situation. But with the wind's just not letting us, even though I'm still debating if we should stick our head out or not. But when you have conditions like this, it's very tough. And if you remember when I talked about fishing like points and stuff like that, as you can see behind me, I have this point that we're fishing, and what happens is that tide runs through here like this, and so it flows down this entire shoreline right here. So Chad, explain to him what you've been doing, because I haven't been doing crap.
So we got the flow coming around this corner here on this point, and
just trying to throw the bait up by the edge of the mangroves there where the oysters are, and just letting the current drag it down the side of the bank. And then when you put me on camera, I throw about 12 feet from the bank. But so they seem to be closer up shallow for some reason. I would expect them to be out a little bit, but just got to feed them where they want to eat. If they want Taco Bell, we're going to feed them Taco Bell. Hopefully it doesn't give them the same afterthought as it gives us. But occasionally they've even been hitting them on the retrieve, but you'll get a couple hits on the retrieve and then they'll go quiet. So it's kind of, it's a hard pattern today to figure out.
And Chad's absolutely right. The pattern has been very difficult to figure out. It's just one of those things. It's that high pressure. I always talk about the barometric pressure, the rise and fall, rise and fall. And when it's a rising barometric pressure and you have clear blue skies, it makes it incredibly difficult. And from what I've heard is that when the pressure goes up, from what I heard, it pushes on the stomach of the fish and it makes them feel full. So I don't know how true that is, but it's just, you know, it's just one of those things. Well, Chad and I decided to stick our nose out, and it's not real bad, but we're in the upper part of the bay, out in front of the Little Manatee River. So we've only caught one snapper so far, but I expect that the bite's not going to be much better here than it was inshore. Same practice. High pressure. Just one of those days. Holy crap!
That's a big
big old grunt.
That is a big grunt.
I thought I had me a snapper on. Folks, if you don't know, these are really good to eat. Really good to eat. They're just a pain in the butt to clean. But if you catch a bunch of them, you can get some good fillets off of them. So what we're doing is we're sitting right on the edge of the ledge. Whoa! Just as I was going to pick up the camera, it gets broken off. What were you? Are you freelining? I knew it. I knew it. One of my jigs, small jigs. I'm telling you. I almost thought about doing it, but on my side I can't do it because it's going to go towards the motor. But anyway, like I said, the way everything's working right now is we've got a northeast wind blowing right at us, and then the tide's coming in, so it's actually counteracting itself. So it's not making the trolling motor work really hard. As you see, there are some rollers out here, but it's not horrible. It's not horrible. So every once in a great while, if you have a boat that's big enough to do this, you know, sometimes it's not as rough as you may think it is. Now, I guarantee the closer we get to the Skyway, the rougher it will be, because we're kind of protected by Tampa a little bit for right now. And so it's not as bad, but I guarantee the further south we go, it will get a lot worse because there's more open water and it just gets worse as you go. That's what happened this morning going to the Skyway, is it was relatively somewhat calm up here, but as soon as we got past the port, it started getting pretty rough. But if the opportunity allows itself, the bite inside was not very good. We're getting some fish here. At least we're getting some action. So so if you hesitate a little bit, like I tell people all the time, if you don't go, you don't know. So it's not the best of conditions is the with the clear blue skies, but we're making it through it. I just can't speak today.
Can't even get it
I
out.
don't even know. Oh! That was a snapper. Son of a biscuit eater. Oh my gosh, that was a good one. Oh. So as you can see, there's some fish on the bottom here. But the funny thing is we're not picking them up on the Simrad. Let me try something really quick. A little bit. We're getting a little bit on the Simrad right there. But they're more prevalent right there, but you can see the edge of the ledge. We're sitting right there. So So it's really important to get your boat situated. Now, if you're trying to anchor in this, it would be,
Good luck.
yeah, it wouldn't be impossible, but it would be very difficult, because when you have the tide going one way and the wind going the other way, it's just very hard to get that boat to stay on anchor. And that's what I was talking about this morning when we were catching bait, that I had to leave the boat in reverse to be able to keep the boat where we needed to keep it to catch bait. But what was happening was, even though the tide was barely coming in, but the wind was much stronger, but those bait fish were on the up tide side of that bridge. So what happened was, as we left it in reverse, it was creating a false current, a better current than what was actually going, because my net was actually sinking almost straight down. So we were throwing the chum into that false current. And sure enough, my last throw was, we just killed the bait. But what Chad's doing right now is he's actually free lining. Since we're sitting only in 30 feet of water, it gives us an opportunity, even though that bait is going out this way, but what's happening is he's going along the ledge as he's doing it. So that bait is in a perfect strike zone, and he had lost a nice fish. Gag. I was telling Chad I was catching a bunch of grunts. I was telling Chad, I said I should go to my inshore rod, like my noodle rod, because it feels like a noodle, and just play around with the grunts a little bit, since that's all I seem to be catching. But there I get hit by a gag. But what's funny is that we've put down live bait, live white bait, live pinfish. They won't even touch them. We put down a cut bait or shrimp, they're on it like that. The cut bait, they're on it as soon as it gets to the bottom. And what I'm doing is I'm doubling up on my cut bait, so they don't get it so fast. Uh-oh. Well, I lied. They eat a pinfish.
Took a little while, but yeah, you found it. Yeah, there you go.
Very nice. As I was saying, that inshore bite for us just was not very good, so we just took a chance and came out here, and sure enough, the bite's a lot better than it was inshore. I didn't even think I was going to get any film. It was that bad, just a bunch of small snook and stuff. So anyway, we came out here. Like I said, it's not too bad, but we're up north. We're almost directly out in front of, we're between the Little Manatee and the Cockroach Bay. So that wind coming out of it's coming out of pretty much the north right now. So Tampa's protecting us a little bit. But if you're at home sitting on the couch watching this and it's Saturday and you didn't go fishing, shame on you. But there's always tomorrow. But it's supposed to blow like 15 to 20. Well, these fish are on it as soon as it gets to the bottom. Chad's caught some snapper, caught some grunts, but as soon as it gets to the bottom, they're on it. It doesn't matter what you put down there. Like, they're hitting it right now, but they're not like aggressively. You can tell they're snapper. Yeah, they beat them up, so they won't hit them again. Just that little bit of a mark right there. That's all it takes. Now I gotta say, what's been happening is Chad's been sitting over in his little corner over there, catching fish after fish, and I'm like, I'm throwing down bait, and I'm throwing down live bait, and I'm getting bit, but they're not taking it aggressively. And I'm like, what are you doing? He says, I'm using whole dead bait. I'm like, really? And he says, yeah. And then he showed me how he was hooking it. Well, he's taking the bait. He's got a regular jig head on. I've got a Stewie jig. Taking it, hooking it right in the midsection, just like this. And as soon as it gets to the bottom, they're on it. The live bait, they'll hit it, but they'll kill it, and then they won't eat it. Weirdest thing. That's why I always stress, always try something different than what your partner is doing. Once you figure out how they're gonna eat it, when we first got here, they were eating everything, but then that shut off within like 5 minutes. Oh, Chad's on again.
Nothing to see.
Nothing to see. Grunt.
Yep.
And again, if you're in an area that you're catching a lot of grunts, that means you're in a good area. So don't leave. You might have to weed through the grunts, but eventually those grunts down there eating that cut bait and that dead bait, they get everything stirred up, and then those grouper and snapper will show up, even though we've caught a bunch of snappers so far right in this spot. Not a bunch, but a few. I'm waiting on him to hook a fish. I'm watching his rod tip. I'm following Chad's lead. I'm sitting in the corner. No need to fight the waves by standing up. Just like that. Even though it's a grunt, gotta fight through the grunts.
Better catch a grunt than what we were catching before, which was nothing.
Yeah. But what I'm using is this the pink Stewie inside the bay with the 4/0 circle hook, 20-pound leader, 10-pound braid, getting it done. But like I said, you gotta work through the grunts. Don't get frustrated. I mean, at least you're catching fish, but you got to be patient. Matter of fact, Chad just sent down a bait, or he sent down 4 dead baits on a jig, and he got walloped. And he was like, I'm kind of glad that fish didn't get on the hook, because we can usually tell when we get hit how big the fish is. Typically, sometimes they'll fool you, but typically we can feel that really heavy thump. And you always hear me say you want to have as many different baits as possible on the boat. Today we have dead whitebait, pinfish, and threadfins, and then we have live whitebait and threadfin, or live whitebait and pinfish, and then we've got some shrimp. So we've got a variety of different baits, but right now what seems to be working is the whole dead bait. It's crazy.
Stinky dead bait.
Stinky dead bait. Luckily we have 2 buckets full of it. Chad's tearing them up.
Lazy man's fishing right here, just like a riverbank with 3-foot seas.
Yeah. It's actually calmed down a lot compared from this morning.
That pinfish ain't even scared. It's not wiggling at all.
Get him, Chad.
Told me something
Nice.
bigger swam up. And we just kind of slowed down on it, so.
Nice. That is a fat one, isn't it? That's a nice grouper, man.
That is a fat fish.
Yeah.
See you in 5 months.
See, that's exactly what we keep talking about. Is if you wait out these grunts, what happens is the bites slow down. You're not getting as many bites. So we figured, Chad said to himself, well, I think something bigger swam into here. And sure enough, he sent the pinfish down and immediately got hooked up. So kind of getting an understanding of what is going on in these spots. So let's say that you're boom getting, grunt after grunt after grunt, a couple snappers here and there, then all of a sudden things slow down a little bit. That's telling us typically that those grouper have moved in, and those grunts have caused enough carnage down there, per se, that these fish get attracted to it and come in. And I've actually watched on camera where you could see a grunt, I mean, screaming by the screen with a cut bait in his mouth, and the whole school of other fish were following him. So that just right there gets everything stirred up on the bottom. And then we've been chumming. The tide's slowing down a little bit, so Chad's been throwing a bunch of chum. That's probably getting them going too. So things slow down. Try different things. I can't stress that enough. Try different things. Be creative. Think outside the box. Chad's really good at doing that. I wish I was better at it, but he's taught me a lot on that. There he does it again. Oh, he's got somebody's line in his mouth.
Somebody's thick line too.
That's definitely not ours.
Nope, this is heavy pink.
Well, folks, it was another fun day in the water. We got into a bunch of different fish. Caught snook, caught jacks, caught snapper, we caught grouper. So,
No redfish today.
huh? No redfish today. As Chad's messing with my pets. I keep telling him every week, you gotta stop fishing my pets.
Seagulls?
Come on, man. Anyway, thanks for joining us again on another episode of Rich's. Rich needs to tighten his drag. But anyway, thanks for joining us for another episode of Tampa Bay Fishing Channel. Again, we want to say thank you to all the support. We really appreciate it. Fish more, catch more, and we'll see you on the flip side.